Hello everyone and welcome to E2 Language Core Skills Vocabulary Lesson. Can you all hear me? Just type in yes. Great. Okay, so today we're going to be looking at phrasal verbs. So firstly, what are phrasal verbs? Phrasal verbs are a verb plus a preposition. And here are some examples. So on the left, we've got here a verb on its own, and on the right, we have the preposition. And when we join them together, it becomes a phrasal verb that acts as one verb, and it actually changes the meaning. So, firstly, I would like you to identify the phrasal verbs in this paragraph. Okay, good job, everyone. There were 4 phrasal verbs in that paragraph. What were they? So we had goes down, goes up, cut down, and break up. So phrasal verbs, as I said earlier, is usually a verb plus a preposition, okay? And today we're going to look at how to form phrasal verbs, the meanings of phrasal verbs, and when to use them. So what's the difference between these two sentences? Scientists carried out an experiment versus scientists conducted an experiment. Well, carried out equals conducted. So here we have one phrasal verb which replaces a singular verb, conducted. And as you can see, when we put a preposition and a verb together, it actually changes the original meaning of the verb. So carry, the verb to carry, means to hold something in your hands, right? And out, as a preposition, usually refers to a place outside. But when we put these two together, carried no longer means to hold something in your hand. To carry out means to conduct. So it actually becomes a separate word, a separate vocabulary. So phrasal verbs, look at phrasal verbs as almost synonyms, or they can be used as synonyms for other verbs. So the meaning is the same, but the formality of the sentences are slightly different. So carry out is slightly less formal than conduct, although the meaning is the same. So, as I said, we can replace single verbs with phrasal verbs. A few examples here are discover equals find out, to show, to point out, to refuse, to turn down, to postpone, to put off, and to find, to look for. Okay, so essentially phrasal verbs is like learning another set of vocabulary. The same phrasal verb can have more than one meaning. So let's have a look at this example. What is happening here? What phrasal verb would we use to explain what's happening in this picture? Excellent. Take off. The plane is taking off. Take off means to depart. What about in this picture? Good, the same thing, to take off your jumper. All right, take off means remove, can also mean remove. This one is a little bit tricky. We can also use the phrasal verb to take off, but in a different way. After winning an Academy Award, Jennifer Lawrence's career really took off. So in that context, take off or took off can also mean to increase in popularity. So I'd like you to match the meaning of the phrasal verbs in the following sentences. Record sales really took off after the band's world tour. Took off, departed, removed, or increased. Well done, increased. We took off later than the scheduled time. Good, departed. And it is customary to take off your shoes when entering Japanese homes. Remove. Good. So as you can see, phrasal verbs can have multiple meanings depending on the context. Let's look at another example. She's putting on makeup. To put on can mean to apply. I love your accent. So here, E is putting on a French accent. To put on an accent can mean to imitate or to mimic. What's happening in this picture? Is he putting it on? Is he really hurt or is he just putting it on? So putting it on can also mean to pretend. So match the meanings in these sentences. I think she was just putting on a smile to fool everyone into thinking she was happy. Well done, pretending. It is necessary to put on sunscreen while at the beach. Good, apply. And it's difficult to put on an Australian accent. Imitate. Well done. Now, one verb can also take multiple prepositions. So one verb can be put with many different prepositions to create a multitude of different phrasal verbs. Let's look at the verb get. We can get on, get out, get in, get over, get along, get up. So how do we know when to use which preposition with a verb? Well, the answer is from context. So I'm going to show you a few sentences, and I'd like you to choose the correct preposition with the verb get. We are all faced with situations in the new year or other holidays when we cannot get the telephone because the system is overloaded. Excellent, get on. Sleepwalking occurs when you get from bed and walk around even though you are still asleep. All right, let's have a look at this one. The answer is get up from bed. Now, we can also say you get out of bed, but the clue there is the following preposition from. You always get up from and you get out of. So that was a little clue there. What about this one? Advising individuals with PTSD to toughen up or just get it can actually negatively impact these individuals and lead to an increase in depression. Well done. Get over it. New study identifies how cancer cells get off control and duplicate to form tumors. Well done, everyone. Get out of control. Findings suggest that smokers get trouble because they can't clear or fight off a virus the way non-smokers do. Great, get in trouble. Research suggests that getting with your co-workers can significantly increase your lifespan. Good, getting along with. Okay, so you all got all of those right. Easy peasy. Let's move on to the next task. Choose the appropriate preposition to complete the phrasal verbs in these sentences. I'll give you about a minute for this task. Okay, well done everyone. Let's have a look. Get in the way of, get on our bikes, get along with others, get up sooner, get out of the way, and get over childhood traumatic experiences. Okay, what about the verb look? Look can come with many different prepositions. So we can look at something, to look out for something, to look up to something, look for something, look after someone, to look around, and to look into. So from context, we would know which prepositions to use with the verb. Which one is correct? Out, at, up, to, into, around, for, or after? Okay, so the answer is look after my cat. To look after my cat means to take care of. Will you take care of my cat while I'm away? If I say look at my cat, well, look at just means to put my eyes towards the cat and look at it, to see it. Okay, so look after means to take care of. What about this one? Good. To look up to means to respect or admire. Excellent. We should look out for scans. To look out for means to be careful of. Okay, next. Choose the correct phrasal verb to complete these sentences. Okay, these ones were a little bit trickier. New research finds why we look at pretty faces. A life cycle assessment study provides a detailed look into decentralized water systems. And could robots and smart devices help older people look after themselves? So look at somebody's face. Right now you're looking at the screen and you're looking at my face. Look into. Usually when we are referring to a study or research, we say it looks into something, it looks into a particular issue. And again, older people look after themselves, looking after meaning taking care of. Okay, second set. Okay, well done. Here are the answers. Healthcare professionals need to look out for fabricated illness in children. So fabricated means fake or made up. So healthcare professionals need to look out for or be aware of fake illnesses in children. A funnel on Mars could be a place to look for life. Look for meaning to discover. Smartphone users may look up information. So whenever you Google something or you use your phone to find information, you're looking it up. Okay, next I'm going to give you some sentences, and instead of choosing the preposition like you did in the previous tasks, I'd like you to choose the correct verb to complete the phrasal verb. Now, be aware of the verb tense. For the sentence to be correct and make sense grammatically, you may need to change the tense of the verb. So here are the verbs in their simple form, and you may need to change their tense according to the sentence. Okay, well done, guys. So here are our answers. Study finds that fish look after their mates or take care of. The business really took off after launching a new product line. Took off meaning increased in success. Many people procrastinate by putting off important tasks, and by the time we got off the plane, our connecting flight had already left. Okay, so there are phrasal verbs that are quite informal, like to go up, to go down. It would be better in academic writing to use increase or decrease. However, there are some phrasal verbs that we can use academically. So before I give you a list, I'd like you to find the academic phrasal verbs. Okay, so there are actually four phrasal verbs. We have carried out, set out, published in, and another one that I just noticed was evolve through. So here are some academic phrasal verbs and phrasal verbs that you can see and use in academic writing. So here's a short list. We have identify with, to deviate from, meaning to go away from the norm, published in, created by, carried out, means to conduct, to set out, it means to embark on doing something, cooperate with, consult with, attribute to, participate in, funded by, and rely on. So I'd like you to choose the appropriate academic phrasal verb to complete these sentences. 3 sentences, 6 verbs, only 3 are correct. All right, here are the answers. Study finds that criminal behavior displayed by mobs deviates from the norm. Researchers from Harvard and Yale University have agreed to cooperate with one another on a joint paper. Now, participate, we would say participate in, but because our preposition was with, so our correct verb for that phrasal verb was cooperate. And the prevalence of blue eyes in the population of southern Chile has been attributed to Welsh migration in the 19th century. Well done, everyone. Next, choose the appropriate academic phrasal verb to complete the paragraph, paying attention to verb tense. Okay, great answers. Let's check. So, an expedition funded by the Gates Foundation has set out on an exciting new assignment to find a connection between music and ritual. In a recent study carried out by the University of Anthropology and published in the Journal of Ritual and Culture, made it clear that different ethnic groups identified with music as part of their religious practices. The only one that some of you got stuck on was this one, and funded by the Gates Foundation. Some wrote published by. Now, the clue here is in the word foundation. A foundation is usually an organization that provides funds for research or funds research. So that was the clue as to the answer for this one. Any questions? Any questions about phrasal verbs? Yep, so we always identify with something. We identify with music, we identify with culture, we identify with particular people. It means that it means something to us. When we identify with something, it means something to us because it reflects part of our personality. So with carried out, we can't say carried out music because you normally carry out a task. So you carry out your chores, you carry out a study, you carry out research. So carry out is related to a task. So these particular ones are academic phrasal verbs, and you can definitely use these in your academic writing. The earlier ones we looked at, like take off and get off and put off, these are less formal and you'd use them more in writing, and it's really important to know them because native speakers use phrasal verbs like that all the time. So it's important to know what they mean so that you understand them when you hear them. It will be beneficial for your listening tests particularly, and also for your speaking. So it's also fine to use phrasal verbs in speaking. The more formal academic phrasal verbs are fine to use in your writing as well. Okay, so how do you know when to use phrasal verbs or how to recognize them? Like with any new thing or any new vocabulary or language structure that you use, try to apply it to your reading. So every week we're looking at a particular type of vocabulary. What I would suggest is after these lessons, go to National Geographic website or any magazine or newspaper, and as you read it, pay attention to the particular language form that we looked at that day. So try to find phrasal verbs as you read, and then try to identify what they mean in that context. Because like I said, the same phrasal verb can mean different things, and some verbs can take many prepositions to create different phrasal verbs. So using them in speaking can help you to sound more native, and using them in writing appropriately can also improve the quality of your writing. So thank you very much, guys. Well done. Great participation, and see you next week. Bye. You're welcome.